All right, guys, here we go. Tuesday, upper body pump, super dope workout. That's already pushed in. Power and iron up. We got part one is 5 to 6 rounds. So it kind of depends on what your capability is, how everything feels. And so you open up with a pretty low volume, but a pretty high intensity pull-up rep scheme here, right? So it's only 4 weighted pull-ups right now. Let's say you don't have the ability to get a very heavy weight. Maybe you bump it up to 6, maybe even 7 while still adding some weight, or you go strict for 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. So the goal is a heavier weight for only 4 reps. It's not to get a ton of reps. If you can't do very heavy, then maybe you increase your reps by double and you go up to, like we said, 8 strict, something like that. After that, you got near AMRAP ring push-ups, right? So what we're looking for is a good pump. You want to actively feel you squeezing your chest to the midline, pressing back through, taking the rings, closing that space up. But we're not really trying to go to absolute failure. And why? Because the point in which we kind of shoot failure in this exercise and lots of exercises is I'm no longer going to be working the muscle I want to work. I'm just going to be doing stuff. And as I'm doing stuff in some of these complex shoulder angles, it can be less beneficial, right? It can almost be to the point where it's causing damage. So we want to keep it beneficial. Good good chest pump, little bit of shoulders, all that. Go to near failure. If you could do 10 reps, maybe you stop at 8 or 9, if that makes sense. Cool. After that, 45-second rest, so kind of short, like I said. If you're pretty good at pull-ups, you'll probably run 6 times through. The limiting factor might actually be the chest and shoulders on the ring push-ups for however many reps you want. Then part 2 is 3 to 4 rounds. You'll probably do 4. We'll see what happens. It's going to be 10 dumbbell JM presses, right? So laid back, rolling it up over, pressing up through, and then after that, you're going to knock out as many reps as possible dumbbell pullovers. And you're going to find, even though you're not primarily using your triceps, they are going to get super smoked just stabilizing in that position, laying it back, moving through it. So have fun with that. 1 minute rest between rounds. Part 3, 4 rounds, as many reps as possible for both these exercises. The banded rear delt raises on a rig is you got 2 bands set up, you're straight, and you're pulling straight back as much as possible, right? So if you need to cheat up, instead of going in the middle and just pull a single band straight back on each hand, right? Instead of the double strand, you're just holding on to 1 strand, pulling it back, and you got some slack on the other side to reduce kind of the overall difficulty of the movement. That'll be perfect as well. But we're trying to keep those arms straight. If you got to put a little bend in them, that's okay. Band pulls the chest afterwards, right? So on this, on the banded rear delt, we want to start with a retracted scapula, pull all these. Then for the next section, we're going to actually let that scapula roll around, start by pulling it back and then pulling it to your chest. So a lot of scapula movement today. Keep it slow, keep it focused, make sure that you're working what you want to work. Rest 30 seconds to a minute between rounds, like muscle mobility majors. Fitness is sport, 21, 15, 9, and a run in between, right? So 21, either deficit push-ups, or if you want to switch up and do handstand push-ups, you can. So we're either working this plane or this plane. Whatever you want to do is up to you. Have some fun with it today. Then you're going to knock out your pull-ups. After your 21 set of pull-ups, then you're going to do a 400-meter run, get in 15-15 run, 9-9 run. Too easy. Part 2, same setup we just talked about down here, working, building up some of this whole shoulder socket, building up, making it healthy, making everything strong, building good balance. Leg and muscle if you want it, mobility majors, TDY. All right, TDY, running off of a similar framework as Power and Iron Up, is going 4 to 6 rounds of 10 and 10 single arm dumbbell rows. Go over to the MHC Daily IG right after this to take a look at the movement demos. But again, we're working a very lat specific one side, and then you're going to turn around and do as many push-ups as possible, near failure again, making sure the point in which you no longer can squeeze the muscle effectively, you're good to go ahead and rest at that point. 45-second rest between rounds, 5 to 6 rounds like we talked about. Part 2, exactly like we hit before, JM presses to dumbbell pullovers. Finishing out with part 3 is going to be 4 rounds, as many reps as possible of rear delt raises, right? So with that, you can start with your shoulder blades pinch. When you get tired, let them unchain a little bit. Start by pulling the scapula back, rowing your arms back at that point, getting good reps in. Again, go over to MHC Daily IG right after this, take a look at movement demos. TBY part 1, 5 to 6 rounds of 10 and 10 single arm odd object rows. Very similar, near AMRAP push-ups, resting. Down here we go to tricep extensions and pullovers, finishing out with rear delt pulses. And so remember guys, again, we're going to close out TBY at the end of this week, unless specifically you need that in order to continue your fitness regimen, if you will, right? So if you're one of the people that has no access to dumbbells, you're still locked down in quarantine, life is the way it is, no sweat, we'll keep it going for you. Otherwise, we're gonna kill it off at the end of this week. We look forward to being able to continue to bring you guys super dope workouts. We'll see you guys back tomorrow for a little bit of core, a little bit of glutes, arms, and all the other fun activities. Hoo-yah, never quit.